Welcome to Module 1 of Human Origins. I'm Don Johansen, a paleoanthropologist, someone who studies human origins, and we're going to explore the fossil and archaeological record of our ancestry. Fortunately preserved in caves and strata and sites in Africa, Europe, and Asia, we have a pretty good picture, a general portrait of what happened over the last 6 million years that brought us from much more ape-like creatures to modern Homo sapiens. Paleoanthropology is a scientific approach to using a multidisciplinary approach from the social sciences, comparative behavior of, say, living primates, especially the great apes, for example, of the earth sciences like geology, sedimentology, argon dating, and of course, paleontology, the study of former species' lives. We'll look at the context in which these early ancestors lived, what kinds of environments they lived in, if environment had some sort of an influence on the evolution of our ancestors. We'll look at when brains began to expand. We'll look at the diversity, or the beginnings, I should say, of culture. Began with very simple pebble tools, but how those led ultimately to what we do today with computers and so on. We'll visit some sites, important sites like Olduvai Gorge and the southern Ethiopia, the Omo, where the science of paleoanthropology really took shape as a multi-interdisciplinary, multinational endeavor to squeeze as much as we possibly could, as much information as we could out of these fossils, out of these sediments, out of these rocks, to understand this incredible evolutionary journey that led to us. And we'll talk specifically about some of the methods that we use. We'll talk about how we employ the scientific method to understand our own origins. We'll talk about how, under the rubric of the grand unifying theory of biology, which is called evolution by means of natural selection, how that really is the framework in which we work, and how we, just like every other life form on this planet, has evolved. And finally, this module, we will go to one of these sites. And of course, I've chosen the site where I've worked most of my life in Ethiopia, called Hadar, and we'll see what it's like to work in the field. We'll see what paleoanthropologists do in the field to recover, discover these fossils, put them in context and so on. And we'll talk about how there are two major aspects to paleoanthropology, in the field and in the laboratory, and set the stage for this exciting journey, which we call human evolution.